Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. Happy May. Like, I can't believe it's May. My brain kind of can't compute that we're already there. Um, if y'all know me, my daughters are 7, 6, and 4, and my 6 year old graduates kindergarten this month. So, lots of fun things going on. Definitely a big month for my mom heart, but be okay. I'll get through it. But yeah, let me know how y'all are doing. Are y'all is your month as crazy as mine is going to be with year end? Everybody's wrapping up things. But anyway, let me know. Today is, what did I name this? Unlocking visibility. So we're going to talk 2 powerful strategies you need to know. And this basically piggybacks off of last week's masterclass. Last week was all about mastering sales posts and really creating some solid sales posts. If you didn't get that, let me know. We've got it now. It's going to be a low ticket offer. I think it's $27 that we're selling it for. So you can still get access to that because it's just a really great foundational thing that I literally think that everyone in their business should have. So that is for sale now. And so this is kind of piggybacking off of that because now that you've got these beautiful sales posts, we want to do something with them. So if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Jordan Ilderton. I go live here every week. Really want to give you tons of value. So be sure if you join live or on the replay, ask questions, leave your comments. I love getting y'all's energy and hearing back from y'all and hearing how you're implementing things and how everything is going. I also love to give away a free thing when you join or catch the replay. So if you leave emoji, comment, question, anything will get you entered. I'm giving away my how I make 5-figure months consistently playbook. So that is for you, and it's 5 questions I use and use with my clients to really get strategic and ask the right questions so that we can build these 10K, 20K, whatever K months, whatever that looks like for you. So that will be our giveaway today. So be sure to comment. We'll pick a winner on Friday. So let's dive in. If you know me, or you may not know, my strategy is mindset, strategy, organize, implement. Well, that's my framework. I always like to start with mindset. So last week we talked a lot about mindset around creating the sales post. So this week it just feels right to start with the mindset piece of doing something with your sales post because there's just so much that comes up around selling and writing sales posts and owning your work and getting visible and putting it out there. For all of us. So, something that comes up, and I had a call this week with a business owner, and she sells and she has great results. And then she said she also gets this feeling like when her mom or, somebody in her family likes a post, she feels so seen. And that was something that I can really relate to. So I have an example about, I've done a ton of work on getting visible and really feeling good doing that. And then last year at Christmas, or not Christmas, we were at Thanksgiving with my husband's family. We're all sitting around the dinner table and someone's asking me how work's going. And I'm like, oh, it's great, busy, all the things. And one of his aunts was like, oh, I see you're really getting bold on your social media. And my face probably got beet red. I wanted to slink underneath the table. And I've done so much work to show up and feel good about doing all of this. And that comment in that minute, my gut knee jerk reaction was just to can I crawl under the table, please? Because I just felt so vulnerable and seen. And so I just want to normalize that. It can still feel weird. And so I just had to say thank you and just kind of own yeah, thank you. I am getting bold and just own that. I got over my knee-jerk reaction and just had to step up and be like, yeah, I've done a lot of work around that. It's going really well. Thank you for noticing. The reason I bring this up was just to normalize A, that feeling, and B, I didn't even know that she followed my stuff. I had no idea that this aunt, let alone read one thing and read a whole group of things to know that I was getting bold. So it shows that she'd read more than one post. She'd seen kind of this progression that I was on of showing up and really getting visible and really owning my work. I had no idea she was following me. I know that my Aunt Becky and my mom, they will look at my stuff. They like my post. I'm always like, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Becky. But I still do get that twinge of oh, what did I write in that? was I talking about how I don't like my family calling my girls good girls because I don't want them to be good girls? Like, was that the post? You know, it feels like so like vulnerable when it's people that you know. But I wanted to bring up the point about my aunt because not only did that happen with her, this happens to me all the time. I texted one of my best friend from college. It's her aunt. She used to live in Charleston. She was like my Charleston mom for like years after college when I moved down here. Texted her for her birthday the other week, and she said something to the effect of, "I love seeing your post online." And I was like, Kim's following my post? Like, I had no idea. No idea that she followed me. She doesn't ever like my stuff. And this not only happens with like family members, but people hire me. People work with me. People hop on calls. They hire me for one-to-one. And like, I've never seen them like a post. I've never seen them comment on it. None of that. So I want to bring this up because like, you never know who's reading and consuming your content. And I don't mean that in like a scary way. I mean that in like a holy shit, keep going way. You know, just because you're posting something and you're like, oh, I'm not getting a ton of likes, or, you know, is this even going anywhere? Like, I only have this number of followers, or, you know, I bared my heart and soul in that post and only one person liked it. And thanks, Aunt Becky. But like, literally, we don't know who's watching. Like, someone could be consuming the shit out of your stuff, but like, you just don't know it. So I know for my business, I talk a lot about, you know, some of the things I talk about are very not only triggering, but personal. You know, I talk about money and talk about showing up and getting visible and getting results in your business and all these things that aren't necessarily like the most comfortable thing for someone to like raise their hand and be like, oh, I totally feel seen. Yes, I can totally relate to that. Like, my stuff just isn't really conducive to that. So whether or not yours is some topic like that or not, just remembering that like, people are out there consuming. So I think that that's just so important to like normalize. Like, I think in the online space, you know, they're called lurkers. You know, like, never underestimate the power of the lurkers. Like, you never know who's reading your stuff, who could be ready to buy, who's on the fence, who's just kind of waiting for that like next call to action, that next piece of content that speaks to them. Like, you never know what that tipping point is going to be. You know, you could have someone buying from you that's been following you for months or even years. So just want to bring that perspective for you for that, so that if you're writing posts and you're getting visible and you just don't feel like people aren't engaging, people aren't liking, like, part of it could just be like, they will buy from you still, they just might not be commenting and liking. So let's see, I have a lot of notes for this, so I just wanted to make sure I stay in order. And also, something I want to talk about is like, I'm almost full. Like, my one-to-one is almost full. I only have one intensive left for May. I don't get a ton of people commenting or liking my stuff. Like, if you look at any of my posts, you'd be like, I mean, is she doing okay? Because she doesn't have a lot of followers. She doesn't have a ton of people liking her stuff. But like, just to give you perspective that like, I'm almost full. I make, you know, pay myself over 10K a month. Like, everything's great. You know, it just doesn't mean that I get a ton of like likes and comments. The other piece of that I think is important to say is that, you know, I love data, you know, I love numbers. So I'm not saying totally and completely ignore that piece of it. I think it's so helpful to go into your Instagram profile and look at your insights, or in your Facebook, you know, kind of the meta dashboard stuff. Look at your insights, see which posts are getting more reach, see, you know, if people are going to your profile from certain posts, see if people are saving certain posts or sharing it. That is all really helpful data to see. So like, even if tons of people aren't commenting or liking it, you can still see like, oh, people are going to my profile link when I, you know, have these kind of posts, or people are saving these kinds of posts. So just looking at the data, I think, is really important. The likes and the comments, I don't really feel like they mean a ton of stuff. They're nice to have. It's nice for our ego. But just remembering that you can be fully booked out. You can be making great money and still just kind of look like meh on social media. So that's like such a big piece. And so much of the one-to-one work I do with my clients is using this data, is using the numbers and kind of going in, seeing what's working and doing more of that, because that's just the easiest place to start. So not getting caught up in likes and comments, but really seeing what people are resonating with, what they're sharing, when they're going to your profile. We do a lot of stuff on the back end of my business and the back end with my clients. I set up a lot of stuff so that we can have that information and see it, but just it could be as simple as going into your insights and looking at that. So that's kind of the mindset piece about that. It does have like the data piece, because I feel like the data works really well with the mindset. So it's like if we're sitting there and we're like, no one liked my post, then it's like, well, actually 3 people shared it, and maybe like a few people went to my profile, like that is the thing that really helps the mindset, because we're seeing a bigger picture. And also just remembering that like people still buy even if they're not commenting. Like I would rather have no likes and no comments and have a full booked out business with, clients always coming in the door, rather than a large audience, tons of likes, tons of comments, but nobody's buying my stuff. So I'm sure most people, kind of have that, like they'd rather have the clients than the acclimates online. So just remember that and keep that in mind as you're posting and staying consistent and getting visible. Let me know if y'all have any questions. Using my new mug from Christy, my social media girl. Thank you, Christy. Love it. Has a ton of water in it. So today, the strategy piece are the 2 visibility strategies that you need to use. So we've got the sales posts, and what I see people do is they kind of get stuck in one or the other. So when we really use both of these is when business pops. So the 2 visibility strategies are getting in front of your audience and getting in front of other audiences. And really using both of those and bridging the 2 is when business just pops. It just blows up. That means that you're always bringing new people into your world, and you're always getting visible in front of others. So the way I think about this in my business and with my clients that I work with is that we're not creating one piece of content for just one place, for the most part. So I will say in my business, on Instagram, I do daily chats and stories. I do Friday wins. So that is specific to Instagram. It does flow through to Facebook, so it is technically in both of those places. The live streams that we do here, they are here, but we do promo them on Instagram. I also do like a link back to Instagram, and what else? We put it in our newsletter. It also goes to my website. So this is in multiple places, even though it kind of typically links back to this group. I'm trying to think if there's anything else specific. So our weekly email kind of like pulls all the content from the week into one place for people. So it does link back to the daily chat. So even though the daily chats are on Instagram, it still gets linked into the email. So whenever I'm creating content, I know that it's going in multiple places, and this makes it so much easier, because I know I'm not just spending this time 30 minutes here. I know that it's going to go, in the email. I know that it's going to go onto Instagram. I know that it's going to go onto my website. Like, it's not a matter of like, oh, do I feel like doing this today? It's like, I'm doing this today. First of all, I love doing these. But second of all, it's like, I know that it's going in so many places that like, it just makes it so much easier to show up, because I'm not doing this one time and then it's just like hidden in this group for forever. So that's important to talk about, because I think when we're just using our content for one place, that's when it feels so hard, and it feels like more of something that you have to do and just another thing to check off your list. But when you can see like the big picture, that like, I'm creating this piece of content, not only is it going in front of my audience, but it's going in front of other audience, like that is huge. It feels so much better, and you just get so much more leverage out of your content. You're making it work for you 2, 3, 4 times. So really just having your content, whatever it is, know that it's going to show up in multiple places. So, we want to think about your audience. Where are you showing up in front of your audience? So literally thinking about which platforms you're on, going all in on those platforms, not trying to like be everything to everybody, but have your, your platforms that you mainly use, and, use content for both of those. Maybe repurpose it into an email, like whatever your audience is, you're getting in front of them in multiple ways with that same piece of content. And then thinking about other audience. So this is why Facebook groups are so great. This Facebook group too, I have it every Friday when we introduce, our new members. I always have a link to how to use Facebook groups, including this one, to get your next client. Because, Facebook ads, if you think about Facebook ads, are for a curated group of people with a similar interest. What are Facebook groups? Curate a group of people with a similar interest, and it's free. So if you're not using Facebook groups, I really invite you to see if that's a good option. It's not a great option for every single person and every single type of business. I totally get it. But for so many people, it's such a great way to get in front of other audiences, other, groups of people with a similar interest, either in your neighborhood or your industry, or your, just being a woman in Charleston, I've got the Charleston Women's Group. We've got some other entrepreneur groups that I'm in. And it's just we all kind of have different things, and we provide value and we sell. And so getting in front of those groups is just so powerful. So, looking at the Facebook groups that might be a good fit and just trying some. Maybe after a while you're this group isn't really, it's not really doing it for me, but you really have to go all in. Whenever people are Facebook groups don't work for me, it's well, Facebook groups work. And I doubt you're the exception to the rule. It's just a matter of have you been showing up? Have you been engaging? Are you using it and cultivating relationships? Because that's what it really is. So, getting in front of other groups definitely, means Facebook groups. And that means this group. I'm always telling you, feel free to post. We have a specific thread on Saturdays if that's just easier for you, or you can create your own. Obviously nothing spammy or anything like that, but that's what this group is for. Someone may need your services. So use Facebook groups. And that's kind of the first piece of the other audiences. Another piece of getting in front of other audiences are podcasts. I love podcasts. I listen to them all the time. I do not have a podcast. Maybe one day I will, but right now that is just not in my wheelhouse to do. But I love being guests on other people's podcasts, and they have a whole audience. They have a whole bunch of people that have never heard about me, don't know who I am, don't know my services, don't know this group. And so going on the podcast and, talking about, my experience or the work I do with my clients, how can you get on, find some podcasts that are with your target audience, or that would be something that you could bring value to their audience. So you're really looking at, pitching it to them. It's a pitch, because they probably have tons of people that want to be on their podcast. So you're really bringing to them, here's the value that I can bring to your listeners. And that's just such a great way to get in front of another audience. And then you also put that in front of your audience. So if you're on a podcast, they're going to give you promo material. So they're promoting you and you're promoting the podcast. And so it's just this beautiful win-win relationship. So you get to post that on your social media. You get to post it in Facebook groups. You get to post it in your, email, post it in your email, put it in your email, everywhere that you show up, you can use that collateral that they gave you so that it points people to the podcast. And then that's helping the podcast that hosted you, generate their audience. So it's just a great place to, network and show up and get visible outside of your direct circle. And then kind of the third one I think about is collaborations. Really, again, this is kind of similar to podcasts, but that's where you're kind of you've built a relationship with someone. You kind of have maybe similar fields or similar types of clients, or maybe you solve similar problems, but this is when you kind of get together. And in my Facebook group, sometimes I'll have guest speakers and they come and they provide value to the group. And then I'm promoting that they're going to be in the group, and I'm putting it on my platforms. And then we give them a piece of collateral and they're putting it on their platform. So it's just a way to just reach a bigger audience. And that's all networking is not only getting in front of your audience, but getting in front of other audiences. So those are the two strategy pieces. My computer went to sleep. Those are the two strategy pieces. And so they're pretty simple, but let me know if you have questions about that. But really, when your business is going to grow, and just have always having people come in the door, always having people come into your sales process, is because of both of these things, and they go together so well. So the organized piece of this is really to have a plan, how to weave your sales posts into your value content. So that's kind of the first thing. We're not trying to hack the algorithm. We're not trying to want to go viral. We literally want to create content that people want to consume. That is the easiest way to get followers. That is the easiest way to get people in your world, the easiest way to get clients. When you put stuff out there that people want to consume, You're like sitting in the doctor's office, like, oh, hey, what's, Sarah been posting recently? I like her stuff. I'm going to go look at it. Like that's what we want. So think about the content that is your value content, where you're giving people tips, tools, behind the scenes, like anything about, that they can use that would be helpful. Like that is your kind of like bread and butter of your content. And then we're like strategically putting sales posts in. And it kind of depends on how much content you go out. Like I sell at least twice a week because I have content going out every day, maybe not Sunday, but every day we have something going out on multiple platforms. So it feels good for me to sell twice a week because I have that even exchange of energy. So think about if you aren't posting value as much, kind of backing the sales post back a little bit so that you can kind of have that like even exchange. So you're not like selling more than you're posting value. So really get like literally like figure out, okay, when am I selling? When am I posting value? Because that just gives like the easiest way to organize your content so that you've got both going out at all times. And then just creating that batch of like value post. Like people love feeling seen and heard and like, consuming your stuff and saying like, this person's got me. Like they know what I'm going through and they can help solve my problem. So it makes it like an easy next step for me to reach out and talk to them. When they see that you consistently show up, that you understand them, that you're talking to people like them and you support people like them all the time, it just makes that conversion so much easier. And it's bringing clients to you that are like naturally a good fit. So it just makes like using what you have and leveraging it in multiple places is just kind of like the easiest thing to start with. And it goes back to what I mentioned earlier about like, it makes creating content so much easier because it's going to go in multiple places and it's going to be repurposed and sent out multiple places. So I really think of content as an asset in our businesses. So we have a lot of clients who literally have inventory sitting on the shelves. I am service-based. A lot of the clients that I work with one-to-one are service-based. And so they might not have inventory on the shelves. Some of them do. And even for those, their content is their inventory. So really thinking about how are you saving your content so that you can use it again later, because it's literally something in your business that gets to work for you again. You don't want to create something that goes in one place one time. You want it to go in multiple places and you want to be able to reuse it again. So that might look different for different people, but maybe you cycle through it every year. Maybe you cycle through it every 6 months. Like whatever that is for you, just saving it and organizing it so that you can have that work for you in multiple ways, multiple times. So that's like the organized piece of that. That's literally like how my brain like thinks of content. I love organizing it, and we have like a very systemized process in my business with how I create it and prep it for the social girl. And then there's a process for how she takes it, gets it in the thing to schedule it. So we all know what's going where, who's put it where. It's just kind of like this, well-oiled machine that we've created, and it works so well. And so let me know if you have any logistical questions about that, but this can look a little different for everyone. I know some people use Airtable. We use Google Docs. Some people, one of my clients, what did she say? She used Boards. So you can use different platforms, but make it work for you. It's so funny drinking out of this, like takes up the whole screen. So then the implement part. This is when I really think about reminding you, anyone watching, to be conversion focused, not just getting followers. So you're speaking to the right people, you're having the right people come in, and when they're a right fit, they're more likely to convert. And this can be slow, and let's just call it what it is. Like it can be slow, but that's okay because that's where you're more likely to get results. That's how I see sustainable growth happen. You're organically getting people into your world, into your field that are a right, fit client. They want to stay there. They want to buy from you. And it just has this snowball effect. So you eventually, I'm always talking about like a pop moment. You eventually just build up and you get to this pop moment where people are coming into your world. You're getting in front of more audiences. And so the kind of the algorithm or the Facebook group or whatever you're doing, like the algorithm sees like, oh, hey, people like this person's content. Like it kind of naturally puts it in front of more people. So that's where I think it's like not the sexiest thing in business to talk about. Definitely not the most like fun thing to hear if you're a new business owner, but it's like, I think there used to be a thing where you could like buy followers on Instagram, or now I've seen, and I talked to a business owner recently about this. She was asking about how to grow a group quickly. And I was like, are you conversion focused or what? Because to me, it makes more sense to just grow the group slowly as opposed to like trying to get a ton of people in your group, like, or in your field, like, hey, I'm going to give away an iPad. So join this and then you'll get the iPad. And then it's like, then you have a bunch of people in there that want the iPad or want whatever you're giving away. So like thinking in terms of like, I want people there who want to be here. And that may look slower. It may not look as sexy. I may not have like amazing numbers to show on, Instagram or insights, but like literally like slow and steady wins the race type of thing. Because you never know, getting the right people in may take a slower amount of time, but once they're in there, they may convert quickly and may convert faster. And then think of it in terms of numbers. So like if you have a 10% conversion rate and you get in front of 100 new people a month, that could be 10 more clients. So like thinking of it like that, like 10% isn't a really high conversion rate. 100 people a month could be high depending on where you are. But if you hop into a Facebook group with like thousands of members and you're showing up daily, like there's a huge chance you're getting in front of 100 new people in a month. And if you have a 10% conversion rate, that can literally be 10 more people. So just think about it that way. Like it may not seem huge and sexy, but like that's what a business is built on. It's built on getting the next client and the next client and the next client. Like, it's not looking like I'm booking 10 clients at once. Like most of us, our business wouldn't be able to handle that, and our central nervous system wouldn't be able to handle that. So like creating that growth along the way sustainably with people who want to be there is just key. So yeah, I talked about the girl that talked about the Facebook group, just wanting to build a group of like 5,000 people really fast. And I'm just kind of like, so what's the purpose for that? Like, why do you want a group of 5,000 people? Like, I would love for this group to be 5,000 people one day, but I wanted to organically be genuinely good human beings with a business. They want to learn about business. They want to support other businesses. They want to network. Like, that's who I want to be there. I don't want it to just be a bunch of robots or, just random people who are trying to win something. Like, I think when we step back and look at like, what is our genuine focus? Like, it kind of goes back to the mindset piece of, if we're just trying to like bypass these everyday little 1-inch moves, that's what creates, moving a foot. If you want to lose 50 pounds, you've got to lose 1 pound first. So, thinking about that in business in terms of like gaining more clients and gaining more traction is like, you need to get into like, get in front of one more person, get in front of 2 more people, like bringing more people into your world and getting in front of other people. And then, the last part of this implement piece is act like a human. We talked about this a little bit last week, but, if you're showing in Facebook groups, engage, take a few minutes to post and like other people's stuff. And I think these groups are just a great way to like build up people and like, like, yay, congratulations, or what a great offer, or that looks interesting, and I know in like some of the local groups, it's easy for me to like refer other people. Like they're looking for a hairdresser, they're looking for a florist, they're looking for jewelry maker, they're looking for someone to give gifts. Like I know so many people in my community that I'm like, oh yeah, tag this person, website, OBM, like all these things, like I'm going to tag the people I know. And I think it's just such a great way to like build people up. Like even if you're not purchasing or shopping at that business, you tagging them, passing along their information, like it just builds this amazing sense of community that I think the world just needs more of right now. We need more positivity online. We need more sharing and collaboration. So I think just showing up as a human being and being one of those people who's like, I'm always the positive person. I'm always going to bring you some value. I'm always going to be like a light in this darkness of online blah sometimes, not that it's always blah. Most of the groups I'm in are amazing, but you want to be like that person that people are like, oh, dang, I always really like her stuff. I always really like how positive she is. I always like her, the way she thinks about things or the way she shows up. Like that's what we want to be, and people take notice because that's not always the online normal. So just building up people, being positive and being a genuine human, connecting other humans, I think is just so important. So that's kind of it in a nutshell today. It's pretty simple. The strategies are getting in front of your audience, getting in front of other audiences, but thinking about what is your literal plan for that? What is your strategy? How are you creating that and doing that on a regular basis? And then how can you see the slow growth as being sexy, as being the thing to get you the results that you want? If you want 10 clients, getting in front of 10 people might get you one client. So just thinking in terms of that way of seeing it get you the results that you want, because this content thing is a long-term game. It is, building relationships. That's literally what business is. So building relationships with people in front of you, building relationships with people in other audiences. So like I said, we are getting full. Our business things are busy. Like, it's amazing. We're onboarding new clients this month. Like I said, I only have one more intensive this month. So if you're feeling a nudge, if you're feeling like maybe this is something I could get support with, if you're feeling like, hey, I've got a ton of content, I don't have a well-oiled machine, or I don't have content, I did the sales stuff and now I've got sales posts, but I don't know what the heck else I'm supposed to talk about, or I don't feel comfortable posting my sales posts, like I still have some mindset gremlins coming up, or maybe it's just like I am doing all these things right, but like nothing is working, I'm not getting clients. Like, I hear you, I got you. That's why I have my free consistent content for consistent 5-figure months call. Like, it's the best next step. We'll work together 30 minutes, we'll create some action steps. These calls, I call them consistent content, but people bring up a myriad of topics, and usually there's a few, and we'll kind of choose one and go in that direction. So it's not like it has to just be content or posting. Like, it can literally be in that umbrella, but it's fun to see where the conversations go, and then support people to have like clear action steps that they can take after that. So I'll put the link below, but we've got some spots open this month. Definitely less than normal because we've got a lot of personal stuff going on, and just getting busier. So these spots will start going away as we get more fully booked. So they're out there. I'll put the link below, and I'll see y'all next week. Thanks for joining. Bye.